Hello, how are you? Hope you've had another good week and welcome back. It's great to have you here, and I look forward to learning together today with you. Um, we are going to be talking about another parable today. And do you remember what a parable is? An earthly story with a heavenly meaning. And Jesus used them to teach, but when he used them, he told what it meant. So, the first one we did was about the seeds and the soil, and I just want you to see that the little plants I showed you last week are growing and they are in good soil. And that's just like Christ wants us to be good soil so that when his word, the Bible, the words that he teaches, comes into our lives, they will also grow. And last week we talked about 3 lost things. We talked first about a lost sheep that the shepherd found. We talked about a very valuable, special coin that was lost and found. And we talked about a son who had left home, but he came home, and there was so much rejoicing in all of this. It was, come on, let's celebrate. And that's what they did. Well, we have a different kind of parable that we're going to talk about today. But let's pray before we do that. Thank you, Father, for your love and your care. Thank you that you give us your word, the Bible, that we can read, we can study, but we don't want it to just be in our heads. We want it to become a part of who we are, and that will help us to live so that the love we feel for you shows in the things that we say and do. May you help us today as we learn about the Good Samaritan. And I thank you for each one. In your name I pray. Amen. Okay, the Good Samaritan, and this is found in Luke chapter 10 in the Bible. Okay, so then the teacher of the law stood up. Now, this was a teacher who was teaching the law that God gives in the Bible. And it was something that they learned when they studied it. And so the teacher of the law stood up. He was trying to see really who was Jesus. Did he really know a whole lot? And he said, Teacher, Jesus was often called a teacher because he did teach so much by his words and by his actions. And he said, so this teacher of the law, this man, is asking Jesus. He said, what must I do to get life forever? And that means that after you die, you would be able to go to heaven. You wouldn't go to hell, where those who disobey God will be going, where they will be separated from God. He wanted to be with God. So he said, what must I do to live forever? Well, and Jesus said to him, well, what is written in the law? And remember the law? And basically it was the 10 Commandments. And so what is written in the law? What do you read there? The man answered. Okay, this is the really important part. Okay, are you listening? Love the Lord your God. Love him with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, and all your mind. Now, if you remember that we had talked about that The heart isn't this heart that tick, tick, ticks, beat, 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 beats in your body, but it's basically who you are. Your soul is the spiritual part of you of how do you relate to God? Do you talk with Him? What are you thinking? And then your strength, your physical strength, and your mind. And so he says, okay, so love the Lord your God and love Him with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, and all your mind. That means 100% of you. And he said, also, you must love your neighbor as you love yourself. And so that's how the man had answered. And Jesus said to him, your answer is right. Do this, and you will have life forever. But the man wanted to kind of show that the way that he was living was right. So he said to Jesus, and who is my neighbor? This is where the parable begins. To answer this question, Jesus said, okay, a man was going down the road from Jerusalem to Jericho, and that's about 30 kilometers. Not a super long ways, but it would take a while to get there. Plus, he didn't have cars. He didn't have autobahns that you could drive fast on. He didn't have trains and buses to get him there. He had his 2 feet to walk there. And on this road between Jerusalem and Jericho, there were some hills around, and it wasn't the best of trails, of roads. But often robbers would hide and jump out and rob people. They would knock the people down and rob them and take their money. Well, so that's the road that this man's walking on. So a man was going down the road from Jerusalem to Jericho, and some robbers attacked him. They tore off his clothes and they beat him. Then they left him lying there, almost dead. And usually it was hot in that part of the country too. It happened that a Jewish priest was going down that road. Now, a priest is someone like a pastor. It's what the leader of the church was called. And so the priest was going down the road. And when the priest saw the man, he walked on the other side of the road. He didn't want to get close to him. Next, a little bit later, a Levite, someone who helped the priest, came there. He went over and he looked at the man, and then he walked on the other side of the road. He didn't help him. He didn't touch him. He just looked. And then a Samaritan traveling down the road came to where the hurt man was lying. Now, a Samaritan is somebody that the Jews, the people who lived in Jerusalem, the major people there, they didn't like the Samaritans. They said, we don't like them. And they were rude to them. They would hurt them. They were basically their enemies. They didn't have love for them. They had hate for them. This Samaritan was walking by, and he saw the hurt man. And he felt very sorry for the hurt man. So the Samaritan went over to him, and he poured some olive oil and wine, which would be like a medicine, into the wounds, and he bandaged him up. Sounds like a doctor, doesn't it? Taking care of him. He put the hurt man on his donkey, so he's not going to ride the donkey anymore. He's walking and carrying anything that would have been on the donkey. So he put the hurt man on his own donkey, and he took him to an inn, or like a hotel. And at the inn, the Samaritan, at the hotel, the Samaritan took care of him. He didn't leave him out on the road. He put him on his donkey, took him to where he was going to stay, and took care of him. Well, the next day, the Samaritan brought 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper, to the one in charge of the hotel. And the Samaritan said, "Take care of this man. If you spend more money on him than I have given you, I will pay it back when I come again." Wow. He's willing not only to give his time, but to give money. And usually at that time, a coin was what they earned every day. Well, so then Jesus said, and remember he's talking to this one who helps at the church, the Levite, the teacher of the law. And he said, Jesus said, "Which one of these 3 men do you think was a neighbor to the man who was attacked by the robbers?" Well, the teacher of the law answered, "Well, the one who helped him." Then, remember, Jesus had said, "You do this and you will have life eternal." And that was that you were to love God, number 1, and then your neighbor like yourself. And here, then he had asked, "Who's my neighbor?" And then Jesus is told this, and the one who helped him is who he said would be the neighbor. And Jesus said to him, "Then go and do the same thing he did." Well, the neighbor. Who was the neighbor? The one who helped, who was the Samaritan, not the one that they would have thought would have helped. Well, who is a neighbor? If it says, okay, the one who helped him, and he had asked, "Who is my neighbor?" And Jesus had told the story and said, "The one who helped him." Jesus had agreed with the man who said, "The one who helped him was the neighbor." Well, let's see. In this picture, there's a word that helps us know. So, there are some letters there. Do you see any letter in the alphabet? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, all of those. Do you see any of those? You see an I. Okay. Oh, where's the I? There. Okay. Look again, and I'm going to write these letters on something else too. Okay, do you see another letter? You see an N. Okay, and where's the N? On the helper's shirt. Okay. Okay. Another letter. An R. Okay, and where's that? Up on the head. Okay. Okay. There's some more. See what else you find. A D. Where do you see a D? Down under the eye? Okay, a D. Okay. There's still. Can you see another one? And E. Where do you see that? On the man laying down. Okay. Okay, there's one more. Can you find it? One more letter. Look, it's on the man that's hurt. Look down, down, down. Did you find it? Where? On his foot. Good job. Okay, now from these letters, can you tell what word that is? Sorry, I dropped the cap to my pen. Can you think? Can you make a word out of that? Well, let's see if you know. Okay. What word do we have? Friend, right. And so, who was it who helped him? A neighbor, a friend. So, what is something that a neighbor or a friend often does? Do they just talk, 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 talk? Or do they do something else? Did the man, the Samaritan, did he just come and say, "Oh, poor you. Oh, here, I'll pour this on." No, no. I mean, I will just, well, how is he going to help him if he doesn't use what he has? What do we have that we learned a verse and we learned something else with? Let's see. The Lord is my shepherd. I have everything I need. Okay, we can do that. We can also, we use our hands to eat. Can we use our hands to help other people? Be a neighbor and be a helper. Be a friend. Ooh, get that so you can see it. A friend. So, that's what we want. But how many fingers do we have? 10. Let's think of I'll just name a few things. And you can probably think of some others, but I'll give you a chance to think. What is something you can do with your hands that could help somebody? Now let's think. Okay, Jesus said you must love your neighbor as you love yourself. Did you ever think, I love myself? Bet you do. Do you know what you do for yourself? Do you eat food at least 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times a day? Yes, we do. We feed our bodies. Do we walk and run and play and work to keep our bodies healthy? Yes, because they need that exercise. Do we also sleep? Yes, because our bodies need rest. Do we also talk? Yes, we do. We talk. Do we play with toys or read books or throw balls or hug dolls? Those things use our hands. Do we sometimes hold mom or dad's hand or somebody else's hand? Yes. For our words, do we speak? Do we like somebody to say, "No, you can't have that"? Or would you rather hear, "Yeah, I'll let you play with it. We can play with it together"? Which would you rather have? Would you rather have somebody say, "Let's play together"? Or, "No, it's mine"? We would rather hear kind words. We would like to be cared for. You like it when mommy and daddy take care of you. And sometimes you get special treats. Do you say thank you? Do you show love to them? That's what we like. That's how we should treat other people. And so when we think about what do we want? What can I do for other people? Think, if you want your own time, maybe you can say, I would like to play alone for a little while and then I will come and play with you, or I will come and get you and we can play together. Instead of, no, go away. Yeah. Be sure to be kind and loving. But there are some things that you can do. So let's try to name 10. And you, I am sure, can think of a lot that I didn't say, and I'm not going to say. Okay, you can share what you have with your brother or your sister. You can play together. You can share your books. Even when friends come over, or sometimes, we can just share what we have. We can sometimes give food to the hungry. And sometimes it may also be, maybe it's a birthday and you just want to invite your friends in to enjoy cake with you, or maybe it's their birthday and you want to take some cookies or something to them. You just want to do something that would be fun in sharing food, but there are also a lot of people who don't have food or the right kind of food. And sometimes we can give them that. We're helping them have what they need. And one thing you can always, always, always do, and it's very important, is to pray for other people. Because no matter where you are, even if mom or dad are driving down the road, they can pray too while they're driving. You just don't, driving down the road, you don't close your eyes to pray. But we can always pray. We can always talk to God about someone and asking for help for them. And prayer we can do anytime, any place, and God listens. We can also make friends. When you go someplace new, whether it's to school or to a class or somewhere else, just where you are that you don't know everybody, you can make friends. You can be kind and loving and think, what would you like? And do that for other people. And be kind and caring. Not pushing them away, but being kind and speaking kind. And speaking kindly is another one, because sometimes we don't do that. I know sometimes I find I don't really mean to be not talking kindly, but if I'm tired or something, I just notice that then I have to go back and say, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be unkind. So it's easier if you speak kindly in the beginning. So then show love. There are lots of ways you can show love. What can you do at home to show love? And how can you do it? Sometimes when you get a little bit older, you can say the words of love, but you can also show them with things that you do. Maybe it's carrying the groceries for mom when she's got more, and you can offer to do it before she has to say, would you do this? And because remember yes, Mom, I would be glad to do that. Yeah. So you can help with a job, and there are jobs even around home that you can do. You can pick up your own toys. You can clean up your area so Mom and Dad don't have to pick up your things. if you've got trash, you can put it in the trash. You can help clear the table. You can help get things on the table. All kinds of things you can do. Then you can also always be kind. Smile. That says a lot. And help people when they hurt. Those are just a few things that you can do. And yes, so who's your neighbor? But treat others like you would like to be treated. And to be able to do that, you need to keep God number one and love Him more than anybody or anything. And remember, you are loved. And Jesus and others in you. What a wonderful way to spell joy. Jesus and others and you in the life of each girl and each boy. Jesus and others and you in the life of each girl and each boy. J is for Jesus, for He has first place. O is for others we meet face to face. Y is for you in whatever you do. Put yourself third and spell joy. Father, thanks for this lesson about who is our neighbor. What can we do? Help us this week to reach out, to help others, to be loving, to be kind, and to remember how would we want to be treated. And that's how we need to treat others. And we know we can't do it all by ourselves. So God, we ask for your help, that you would help us to love, to know you better, and to do what you want us to do. In your name I pray and thank you. Help us to be good Samaritans. Amen.